everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm outside. I thought let me do something different. Now in this video I want to talk about one of the most underrated truths about becoming a middle-aged person. In my case, becoming a middle-aged woman, coming from Zimbabwe, settling in the UK in my 20s, and now I'm of a certain age. Now here's what I've realized. There is this quiet freedom that comes with the understanding and realization that, you know what, at this stage in my life, I don't need to conform to certain expectations. I don't need to fit in a certain box, but my own box. So this is what I want us to explore in this video. I want us to try and dissect as to exactly what that looks like. Now, I made a video the other day talking about becoming a middle-aged person abroad, some of my fears, the things that I worry about. Now, when it comes to this most underrated truth of becoming a middle-aged person, especially when you live abroad, as I said, in my case, I came from Zimbabwe in my 20s. What is the truth? And I've said it comes with the freedom of knowing and understanding that you don't need to fit in a certain box. Now, when I came in my 20s, when I relocated from Zimbabwe to come to the United Kingdom, at the time, I felt a lot of pressure. I felt pressure in terms of trying to assimilate into my new environment, trying to conform to certain expectations as a foreigner who has come from Zimbabwe to settle in the United Kingdom. I felt pressure to be accepted. Of course, that is normal. It is expected because you can't settle in a foreign land unless you assimilate into a new environment. So at the time, I was under a lot of pressure to conform to the standards here in the UK, cultural norms, behaviors, expectations, and so on. And also at the same time, I was also feeling pressure from the other end, from the Zimbabwean side. Let me say the things people said, or some of the comments, or some of the remarks, things like, oh, you've changed, you're dressing this way, you're talking this way, you're behaving this way. So every time I went home, as I tried to interact with the people I knew from back home, I felt this pressure to not come across as if I've changed so much. I felt under pressure to come across as if I was still the same person. I really wanted them to believe that, you know what, even though I'm now in the UK, I'm still better, I'm still the same person, I haven't changed. And when I returned to the United Kingdom, I felt the same kind of pressure to also prove myself, to say, you know what, I also belong to this country. Here I am. Look at the way I'm talking, look at the way I'm dressing, look at the way I'm assimilating. And I can even go as far as saying most of the pressure I felt at the time was coming from within. Most of it was the kind of pressure that I put upon myself, because even though people were making these comments, I mean, the most pressure came from within, because in my mind I was thinking, okay, I've got to be this kind of person, I've got to talk this way, I've got to dress this way, I've got to be this way to be accepted by this person, by that person, in this environment, in that environment. So I was always like having this kind of push and pull, back and forth within myself. So I put pressure on myself, to be quite honest, because I mean, people make comments. There's nothing wrong with commenting to say, oh, you know what, you have changed, because some changes are good. Change is good, like most of the time anyway. The kind of change that people were commenting was good change. But at the time, because I didn't know better, I put pressure upon myself to say, you know what, I need to be this way because I don't want to be judged. But now, as I've grown older, I've realized, you know what, I don't need to put this kind of pressure upon myself. It's okay to be who I am. It's okay to change. It's okay to evolve. There's nothing wrong with that. So when you come to a certain age in life, you start to embrace that. You start to embrace who you are becoming, because there's nothing wrong with evolving. There's nothing wrong with change, because if you don't change, if you remain stagnant, if you remain the same person you were 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, then there's something wrong there. You've got to change as a human being. We were meant to evolve, we were meant to change, whether you remain in the same environment or whether you move. as human beings, we are supposed to evolve, we're supposed to grow, we're supposed to change. So that's one of the most underrated truths about becoming older, about reaching a certain age. You start to embrace who you are and the changes that come with growing. Another freeing thing that comes with age is the realization and understanding and embracing the fact that, you know what, other people's opinions do not really matter. What matters is your own truth, how you see yourself, how you view yourself. That is what really matters. Because when you live life focusing on other people's opinions, focusing on what other people think about you, then you become a prisoner. You're not free. And this is how I was when I was of a certain age. I was focusing more on what people thought of me, what people thought about the way I look, about the way I dress, pretty much everything. I was so worried about that. But when you reach a certain age, you develop this wisdom because you have lived life, you have had experiences, and now you've come to the realization that, you know what people think of me do not really matter, because at the end of the day, people are also worried about themselves. They are also wondering what other people think of them. The person you're worried about, thinking about certain things about you, is also worried about other people thinking things about them. So as I've gotten older, I've come to realize that, you know what, people don't really worry about you the way you think they do, because sometimes it's our own internal battle that we are fighting. It's because perhaps we've got a low self-esteem. Perhaps it's because of our experiences, past experiences. So we are dealing with a lack of confidence half the time, or let me say most of the time, when we think like that, or when we live life worrying about what other people think about us. It's because of lack of self-confidence. We have a low self-esteem, and that lack of confidence and low self-esteem, it comes about sometimes as a result of our past experiences. Because if your past experiences were such that maybe other people put you down or said things about you to make you feel a certain kind of way about yourself, then over time, if that doesn't change, you start to believe certain things about yourself. You develop that low self-confidence. But what happens is, as you become older, because you go through different experiences, more experiences, because of that exposure, and in my situation, because I go into different spaces, whether I'm in Zimbabwe or I'm in the United Kingdom, because I have that kind of exposure. Because when you relocate, there are things that you're going to face, challenges that you're going to have to navigate. And through navigation of these challenges, you develop resilience, you develop courage, you develop confidence, you develop problem-solving skills, you develop all kinds of skills that aid your growth, skills that contribute towards your growth. And with that comes with that wisdom, comes with that understanding that, you know what, at the end of the day, what people think or what people say about you is not important. It's how you handle yourself, even if you fall, but it's how you get up in life. So when you get to that stage, it really becomes a turning point in your life. So this is what I wanted to share with you in this video. I don't know what to think about everything that I've covered in this video. As always, feel free to chip in the comments section. I'll see you in the next video.